So basically, to put it in one simple line, we are building a permissionless infrastructure, which is a gateway to real-time web data. Data, especially on the public web, should be a common good, and everyone who has a great idea to drive the space forward needs to have some access to this data, and everyone contributing should be able to share this. So
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the ACC podcast from ACC Ventures. I'm your host, Steven, and today we are joined by Max, COO and Co-Founder of Teneo Protocol. Teneo has been building something bold at the intersection of data, infrastructure, and community, and today we're going to unpack the story, how the idea came together, what Max and his team have learned along the way, what's live now, coming soon, and why the community around Teneo matters so much. So without further ado, thanks so much for being on the show today, Max. How's the day been so far?
Hey, Steven. Yeah, great to be on. Have been a great day, a bit late here, but all good. Thank you.
Yeah, so as I mentioned in the intro there, we're going to get into a bunch of different topics, just what Teneo is, what you guys are doing right now, what's live, what's coming, all that good stuff. So viewers out there, be sure to drop a like on the video, stay tuned, and be sure to get in touch with everybody on the Teneo team. We'll leave those links in the description. Nonetheless, Max, I want to hear from you just right away. If you could put it into the most simplest phrase possible, you're in an elevator, you're at a party. What is Teneo Protocol?
So basically, to put it in one simple line, we are building a permissionless infrastructure, which is a gateway to real-time web data. So any data which is publicly available on the web can be accessed through our infrastructure and much more. So that's just one gateway to be.
Very simply put, Teneo is an infrastructure that allows people to contribute their own social media data through community nodes, which we'll get into in the future. And in doing so, they're rewarded for their tokens. So this is kind of a competitor of today's social media data lords that are kind of, taking all this data, probably reselling it. So you guys at Teneo, Max, are kind of up against some major giants in the world of social media today. Is that right?
Well, major giants, we're just having the approach of building an infrastructure where insights which you have daily on the internet, in any platform, social platforms or whatsoever. So you're posting, you're sharing, all this information is very valuable, but you're creating it as a user, and we are building an infrastructure to really share this data across anyone who needs it for their own use, and having the possibility to also contribute in a way where you're not actively need posting or so, but you as a user engage in the community. But where your touch point is actually only one product of ours. So we just released two others which are connected to all of this, but we'll get deeper into that.
Of course. Yeah, I always like to try to provide my understanding of what it is that we're about to get into, specifically so that you can step in, fill in the gaps, and of course, share about those things that I didn't mention. So before we kind of dive a little bit deeper into that, being that this is Founders Stories, I want to give the viewers a chance to hear a little bit about your story, Max, how you got into the space of Web3, and then we'll hone in a little bit more closer to Teneo and its journey. But I guess just taking a big step back, you can begin as early in your life as you want to. But what is kind of the origin of Max? How did you find yourself where you are today in November of 2025?
Where I found myself personally was in a lot of travel. That's I got the most insight about my life, but how I really came into Web3 was in the beginning. Since you can refer to me as a hardware guy. Also, my major is electronics and telecommunication. So I had a lot to do. So I was going into crypto mining, Ethereum mining to be specific. I built my own mining rigs, and it was not early, but let's say mid 2017. So it was actually a good time, but also you get into it's all new, lots of learnings in between. I made more money in buying GPUs and reselling them than mining itself. So a lot of learnings there, but yeah, that was my first touch point in Web3 itself. And this sparked my interest to go out and look for other people who really want to work in this space and get some real world products out. And then I found the other co-founders. So we are four co-founders, um, and we already worked together for 8 years. So we not just started working together with Teneo. So Teneo is around 1.5 years old, but we had another venture before, and we also developed in this space. So we built a real world asset tokenization platform, and we also managed the assets ourselves. That was linked with IoT devices, and there we already learned to work with a lot of data, and specifically the background of our CTO. He has a lot of background in the whole space, data space. Build his own automations, his own tools, and yeah, there was a lot of learnings already in the ventures before. And around this 1.5 years ago, when we started to pivot and Teneo was born, also this whole idea of creating an infrastructure for a free data economy was born, so to say.
That's great. And wow, being together with this team now for 8 years, I guess as quickly or as short as possible, like how did you guys all find each other? Were you all in the same region working on something, or how did you guys get connected? Very cool. So I guess I did my best at the forefront of this video to kind of simply package what it is that Teneo is doing, the products that you have, and you mentioned that you guys have two different things that I kind of didn't mention. So why don't you do a better job than I did? I already threw the mic over to you to kind of give a one-liner of what Teneo is, but let's increase that to a few more lines here, maybe a paragraph or two, just really help myself and the viewers really get a good understanding of all the bases that Teneo is covering. Obviously expanding on, in your own words, the kind of intro that I already gave.
Sure. So, to really understand what Teneo is, we need to start where Teneo actually started. So, the product we started with was is the so-called community node, and that's we launched around one year ago. And also the growth of this community node we did not really expect, but this was really the start of Teneo, where the idea was we want to build a really easy access to data. But for this, you need a lot of infrastructure behind it. You cannot just boot up one computer and you can take all the information and yeah redirect it to anyone who needs it. So we really needed to build a community, and the easiest step for that was to build a browser extension which everyone easily can run in the browser, and which allows them to share all the insights they collect from all this public data. And yeah, there we started. We grew from basically a couple of thousands in the first month to hundreds of thousands in the following month, and 1 year later we are up to 6 million and more, and also regularly collected anytime are more than 1 million. So we that was really a steep growth we experienced, and we're really happy we had so much reach in the community, and everyone was coming in. And so we built the backbone of access. But then the next steps came, and we said we really need something to make it accessible for everyone in an easy manner. So the idea was we need a simple user interface, and there I'm referring to the chat room, which we just announced a couple of weeks ago, and which is still closed, so it's not open for everyone. But the chat room is a simple user face. Everyone can imagine a chat room. Everyone works with chats every day on different apps, and as simple as that, as we have the cohort of all these nodes are ready in the background collecting data. We built this user interface which hosts specialized agents, and these specialized agents have the intelligence to go out and browse the web using these nodes, which we also refer to as sub-agents, since they're working together. And really, for a user to simply get in, ask this agent to retrieve this specific data, and he navigates through the web for you and links all the pieces together that you get the information you're seeking. And on top of that, everything this chat room is capable of doing as a visual user interface. We also developed an SDK which you directly can integrate into your tools and your business intelligence, or build a whole product with it from ground up. So really important to put. We are an underlying infrastructure for so many applications you can build on top, if it's in terms of community engagement or marketing wise, that you track everything you post on a specific platform, that you know what the engagement is when it's reposted, when it's being shared. If you build automations where when someone is tagged, that like a bot is tagged, something in the background is being triggered. So yeah, there's really endless possibilities what you can build with that, and we want to make it as easy as possible, and not have to struggle to go through endless APIs connecting hundreds of things in the background, really to be go to one place, get all the access. And there, the third part actually comes in, which is also very crucial, since I said we are permissionless and we are also decentralized, which means all the infrastructure runs decentralized, and also the specialized agent I mentioned. They're not developed by us on our side, but we just launched our agent SDK, not to be confused with the SDK I mentioned before, which is for the customer, the user. You can deploy your own agent. So as a developer, you have the tools and the knowledge to code and to develop your own agent, your own intelligence, host it on your side and connect it via the agent SDK to our infrastructure. And everyone who needs this set of data which you provide through this agent can do so. So, and as I said, it's a chat room. You can invite many agents for specific tasks. So you can really combine data streams there in a very easy and simple way.
So when we are in, this era of Web3, I feel like that, kind of started as almost kind of like blockchain and decentralization, but now all of a sudden kind of like AI infrastructure and AI agents have, joined the chat room. Pardon my pun there. But nonetheless, it really sounds like the infrastructure that you guys are building really hints at really a future that is coming. We hear a lot of talk of like, oh, we need a lot of speed with blockchain, with decentralized networks, so that all of these transactions, all of these actions can be taking place in basically real time across the worldwide internet. And that's just for the humans. And now imagine, if a single human has at his or her disposal tens or hundreds or even thousands of these AI agents. It just becomes extremely important, just how efficient some of these decentralized networks needs to be communicating with one another. So I guess just kind of coming at this from a very not skeptical view, but curious view. Is this kind of what people are talking about? Is a major leg of where all of these AI agents are going to be coming into the picture? It sounds like they're playing a huge role in the infrastructure you guys are building. Are you guys bringing a lot of AI agents into the world through this infrastructure?
Sure. So we built this specific agents which you can also feed all the information to other agents you're building. So it's not that these agents run on our infrastructure are the all capable machines. So as you said, like there will be so many agents specialized on one things communicating, and as we saw, it's really important that everyone who's building this kind of agents that using all the tools to build agents which do real world applications and bring real value. So it's a really critical point, and they rely, as you said, on real time data and on real data in the end. So that's a really crucial part, and this is why we thought um, to point out with the beginning of all this AI race, which is really becoming an arms race, also data sources got more locked behind walls and harder to access. But as data is, especially on the public web, is a common should be a common good, and everyone who has a great idea to drive the space forward needs to have some access to this data, and everyone, as we mentioned before, contributing should be able to share this. So self-sustaining cycle where really good applications can be built. If it's all centralized in a few spaces and very expensive to access, so the hurdle is super high to even get to this data. Yeah, we going against it and say everyone should be able to build all these amazing applications, all these amazing agents, which hopefully will really help us improve a lot of things in this world. So there's a lot of debate on how the impact gonna be, job loss, and so on. But in the end, we want agents to have or bring value to the world in a manner that they not take value or are not from one centralized party the the tool, and we are again the product in the end.
Yeah, so I guess just for somebody like me who's not building somebody, for anybody who is viewing this video that is wanting to learn more about Teneo, let's really address the question of kind of, what is the problem? Let's say before Teneo existed, what is the way that things are normally done? What is the traditional way that kind of things or people or builders have to go about building around, or kind of roadblocks to get through in order to kind of get where they want to go?
Well, we touched it already a bit. So before, as we said, all this arms race and locking everything in, and also social platforms not offering free APIs anymore, or even not have any anymore, or also make it much more hard to access it. Um, this very limits everyone who is building. So as I also referred, our CTO has a very profound background there, and he was building before a lot of applications also for our company before, which relied on all of this data, and that was really like a crucial point. So the credits goes a lot to him. He came up with a lot of the ideas what Teneo is now, and also regarding to his background, this came up. So really, this, as I said, this free marketplace, what it was before, getting more and more centralized, getting more and more locked. That was what really pushed us in the direction building what we have built.
Yeah. So I guess on a more personal level for you, Max, whenever you go to work every day, what really motivates you? What excites you about the work that you're doing now for Teneo?
Well, what's really exciting is the community we have built so far. A huge community, what we already touched on, like on the community node side. But what we are also now doing is building a community, a dev community to be specific, on the agent API side, so SDK side. Sorry, getting a lot of great builders in who drive this whole infrastructure forward. That's really something. Yeah, what do you say when you get up every day? What really drives someone building this infrastructure for everyone to participate in yeah, in a different way, but in a very crucial way.
But yeah, I think that's really important, obviously, for somebody in your position to really have a lot of passion and interest in what it is that they're doing. So, really, what does your day to day look like as COO?
Yes, so as the four founders of us have all these titles, we don't take them too seriously, but it kind of really describes of what we're doing. So as I'm involved in a lot of different operation, it goes for now also a lot of sales. So normal outreach to everyone who is interested in using our products, our chat room, our SDK, doing the onboardings on that, and also working with the devs to get everyone ready with the SDK, since this is much more technical than just a user interface, the chat room itself. And also working in between marketing and the dev team. Yeah, really, as a CEO, you're naturally in every department. Also, HR is one of my things. We are still a small team, so most of our team are developers, which are all very all great guys, all really good devs, and they're also very hyped about building this community around, who are more and more building the agents which will really run the infrastructure.
Cool. And you mentioned a lot about community. So, what kind of would you say is the community most excited about these days? Where do you see them contributing the most and having the most energy around?
There about the community nodes, but also being excited to really contribute your knowledge on the terms of deploying your own agent. So um, there needs to be still a lot of know-how about how to build these systems. Like an agent is, yeah, also with the times vibe coding coming up, but still
Hmm.
there needs to be a lot of human intervention to make these systems really run smooth and controlled. So there, for everyone who works in this space to contribute and also monetize all their work in an easy and decentralized way is brings a lot of excitement.
Yeah, you mentioned the idea of vibe coding and how easy it is these days for somebody as a single individual to sit behind a computer and make a lot of things happen. Let's start here at kind of like entry level, and then we'll dive a little bit deeper. So this is of course a chance to touch some more on some of the things that are live on Teneo right now. But my question to you, Max, is starting from a beginner's standpoint. How can a beginner begin to start their journey with Teneo? Do they need to have a lot of technical know-how, or is it pretty straightforward getting going and start contributing to Teneo and the infrastructure?
So the easiest way is for sure running a community node. There, you don't need any technical knowledge whatsoever. You just go in the Chrome store, like in the extension store, download the app, and you run it. You, yeah, of course, need to sign up and all of that things, and then you engage. You have a dashboard where you get all your signals, and you can also choose in the extension itself. You opt in, you choose if you want to contribute, or you can also use the extension yourself on your side to retrieve data for yourself. But yeah, it's really simple to use, straightforward, and then you can toggle on contribute and or earn, and you're providing to the ecosystem, to the infrastructure. So that's really the easiest way. And then, of course, if you have knowledge, if you know how to code, if you know how to design an agent, to run an agent on a cloud instance or on your own computer at home, and you want to connect it to Teneo, you can do it via the SDK. There's already an active community, so we started getting in. I believe it's more than 500 already, which engage in building agents. They also have their own testnet where they can test the agents in the community and exchange any ideas on that. So there you can also contribute and participate. We have wait lists for that. So best you follow us on X. There's all the information shared how to easily get in and get started with Teneo. And of course, if you're someone who needs all of this insight, all of this data for building your application itself, or for your business intelligence, your marketing purposes, or your research purposes, then you can also already reach out to us. We do have a whitelist also on our homepage to get started with the user interface SDK for the consumer side of things, and already have the first agents which are approved on our side and get all the insights you need. So that's basically the three ways. And I'd say the easiest, of course, is to get to get the data or to contribute the data. And the more advanced version is to build your own agent.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in your eyes, what makes somebody a valuable contributor?
Any of these, I would
Yeah.
say. I mean, the customer itself is also in a way a contributor because he is choosing us instead of any other sources. But we also believe we are a much simpler way because we're aggregating a lot of these signals.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of moving parts, but at the same time, a lot of different ways for people to get involved, join the community. And you mentioned that, you've been together with this team for 8 years. Teneo has been around for the past year and a half. So, kind of glancing over maybe some of the specifics, like what's the journey been like? There's probably been a lot of insights along the way. What do you think are the most valuable things that Teneo as a team over these 8 years that you all have been working together with, what have been some of the most powerful pivots that you guys have made that helped have shaped what you guys are today?
So about the team itself, the four founders, we already worked together for 8 years, but we also have team members which are working around 3 to 4 years with us. So the core team is really strong, and that's yeah, we can be really proud of as a team. I'm really happy to work with all of them, and also our new members which have just come recently, or more or less one year with us. All are really great. All the most challenging, I mean, most challenging for sure was the pivot to what is Teneo now. From where we come from, we have learned a lot, but of course there was also a lot of learnings what we had and what forced us to make this pivot. And this was for sure the quite hard time because it was transitioning from a different standpoint, and also we had to create a whole new structure of working or continue to work. And there was a lot of learnings on the way, on a personal level, on a business level,
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah. So, given your role in operations, it is all encompassing, I'm sure. And given how important the community and the builders coming to and providing the data and working with the different SDKs, providing that feedback for you guys and so forth along the way, that just really probably a really delicate balance between, adapting and shifting some things, and just making sure that both internally the company is remaining aligned and focused on, the clear path ahead, and what it is that you guys are doing, but at the same time making sure that that message is really clear to the community members. So just, yeah, just person to person, like what have been the biggest challenges for you, Max, being in your role of operations, balancing probably lots of different things? What would you say to somebody who is in a similar role as yourself, doing operations, trying to maintain everything in a highly fluctuating world today that we live in, where things are changing so much? What sort of insights have you gained over the years that you could impart to other people who are watching this video?
Well, that's actually a very simple answer. So have the right people in place you can trust. So, um, as from my side, also as I'm called the CEO, I'm not doing all the operations by myself. So all of
Hmm.
the valuable team members are doing it, and as I said, a strong team who can trust each other. That's the most important. Getting the right people in.
Yeah, I think that cannot be emphasized enough. Having people around you that can excel in their roles, but most importantly, as you mentioned there, the element of trust is key in any successful operation. Let's say that you're somebody who wants to build in this particular space. Let's say even that you come across Teneo and you learn about what it is that you guys are providing. If you're a builder starting from day one today, would you say that they should just start contributing and, look for a role in Teneo? Or perhaps if they wanted to build their own thing, like what sort of things do you think really need to be improved upon? And it's kind of a quirky question, because obviously you're with Teneo, and you're building Teneo, so obviously you're very focused on those things. But just from a broader perspective, like what are some of the problems that are, still present, Teneo is still working on? But most importantly, like what does the kind of like the horizon, the 5 to 10 year view of this particular industry, what is the landscape looking like in the next, 2 to 3 years, and even to 10 years? What do you think are some main challenges and opportunities that present themselves?
Well, yeah, to go that far, I mean, 10 years is really far, especially in the space of AI, where we have
Yeah.
doubling of capacities every 5 months or so, and decreasing. So that's a really crazy space. And to also include there, what we are offering, it's, I think, really needed, because you cannot even put up with all of this information you're getting in this short of time. So there also another use case comes in, where just everyone who's building and everyone who wants to contribute to this space kind of needs a pipeline and infrastructure for all of this data, because nobody can process all of this anymore by themselves. So, but to get people in, I want to emphasize to really try to, if you're having an idea to build something new, to build a new product, what you need, and if Teneo not already can provide all of this, you need to build such tools. So I'm very active in this space. There's so many cool ideas coming up, which we can really power from the ground up. They're mostly hindered by relying on too expensive APIs, data pipelines, or whatsoever. So that's really a bottleneck for most of them. Yeah, and I just want to emphasize: check out Teneo, look into what we can offer. We can already offer a lot, and there.
So you mentioned several things that are live now: the community node, the chat room, which is still private. Is that correct?
It's still in a private beta,
Gotcha,
and
gotcha.
yeah.
And then the agent SDK, as well as just the Teneo SDK. So are all of these things live? I know I just mentioned the chat room itself is kind of private, but yeah, what is live now, and how are people contributing in the most powerful ways today?
Contributing on the Teneo SDK side are everyone which we already partnered with and close with. So there we have not opened up the floodgates at the moment. So you just have a whitelist. You can get in if you're interested and sign up that you get an early access. And what we really want from that side is a lot of feedback and building use cases, since we cannot think of every use case out there. This is why we really need the projects in which have their, what I just told before, who wants to build something, we want to help you build it and provide you all you need for it. And on the other side, yeah, get in when you have the knowledge, when you just want to easily contribute, get our extension.
Yeah, that's great. And you mentioned the agent SDK. That's something that recently came live. Is that correct?
Yes, it was just if I'm not wrong, last week.
Yeah. How has that been going so far? Has everything been going to plan? And what's the feedback you guys have gotten on that so far?
Oh, gone very well. So as we had also a whitelist there, we had several hundreds of signups from developers all around the globe, and all are very excited to contribute and show everyone what they can build.
That's great. And when it comes to Teneo's vision in the next 6 to 12 months, what are you guys really focused in on right now? Any emerging trends that you guys didn't foresee?
I mean, we're really focused on what we are doing. So to building this specific infrastructure all around access to all these insights and all this data. But what's really coming up is that more and more of all this infrastructure is getting pushed open source. So we really believe in this open source character and want to more get everyone involved to contribute also on the level of the underlying code itself.
Yeah, and whenever it comes to the traditional way of how things have been done, obviously the opposite of open source, all of these, APIs that you have to get past and or pay for. I guess how do you see, in your role, what sort of almost roadblocks do you foresee maybe could be coming up if people who are, I guess, people who have been building so far and, they wanna maintain, they wanna control the data. Do you see an opportunity for the competition that is people who, have been running things the way that they have been going for so far? Like, do you think that they still have a stronghold and this is something that Teneo really has to kind of compete and convince people to kind of, entertain using and building on your infrastructure, or do you think that from your perspective, with your ear in the communities, are more and more people really coming around to see that this is the correct way to do things, and many people are excited about kind of contributing on this front rather than how things have been done so far?
Mhm. I don't believe that we need to convince too much. The product we are building or the whole infrastructure we are building brings a lot of value. I mean, that is, from our view, quite obvious. This is why we focus on that so much. But to get the word out, to really make aware that that's where still something has to be done. I mean, our community is large and very active, and it's also what we're gonna do going forward. And already a lot of doing, bringing the word out, engaging, and getting, as soon as we launch it more publicly on the consumer side of things. Yeah, I think we need the awareness, but yeah, we don't need to convince too much, what I believe.
Yeah. How do you help people get more aware of this? Because I mentioned at some point, if maybe you're not a builder, you aren't deep in the trenches of understanding all of this infrastructure that you guys are bringing a solution to. How can you guys almost bring awareness to this so that not just from the builder's perspective, but also from the consumer, that a consumer says, no, I'm going to choose to, use this particular platform because I know that it's, built using Teneo or an open source perspective rather than, some traditional source where they, guard and they keep all of the data and insights. How can you bring awareness to this and basically just contribute to a better web in the future?
To bring out this awareness, yeah, it's hard work, but we are prepared to doing it. Bringing it out is really to show people what it can do, and building their use cases with them, because we have already learned so many use cases can just be built on top of our infrastructure, and we can provide a lot more than we actually know ourselves, because we have so more and more people building on us and building specialized agents with insights we did not even think of. So that's really the powerful the powerful um, proposition which we really have, that it's on so many sides almost infinitely scalable, like on the side of people providing connection for some of the specialized agent, but also people deploying all the intelligence for this agent. So yeah.
Are you able to give us any examples of some of these things that people are building, some things that have surprised you and your team?
From the, as we have just launched the agent side, but there's already agents being built on specific data sets, which, for example, government data you just get in, like public government data, you just get it in PDF format. You can, yeah, index this on your side and then make an agent to just get everyone get the data who needs it. So there's all this use cases to get very specific data sets where you just have to do a lot of work to make it usable.
Yeah. And then now a little bit on the technical side as well, just touching on the aspect of speed of real-time data. For somebody who's watching this video who might be building a decentralized network, do you think that speed and latency should still be the most important aspect of somebody who is maybe building a blockchain or decentralized network in today's landscape? As you're seeing the AI agents and all of them interacting together through lots of different ways on Teneo, how important do you think speed and latency and finality and some of these, key Web3 buzzwords are as you look into the future? Do you think that the solution is already amongst us, or do you think that there's still a major opportunity for this landscape to expand in terms of speed in order to keep up with the pace of infrastructure like what Teneo is building, not to mention all the things that other people will build in the coming years?
Well, there's so much happening in this space. So when it comes to speed for our infrastructure, especially on the speed of layer ones, you can also use different tools. So a transaction is being made if a consumer asks a specialized agent to get certain data, and this agent, if he's running with the community nodes, then also sends a transaction to the community nodes to get this information. So we are already deployed the first X402 payment. So there's so many things coming up which make this so much more scalable. So who doesn't know what X402 is? It's this agent-to-agent payment system, which makes it very easy for this microtransaction to be really an easy way, and that you don't need to pay every transaction for every query you write or you request through our system right away. And all these tools will make it in the future scalable and much more easy for all these this agent-to-agent transaction and exchanges.
Yeah. So where do you think, personally speaking, where do you think we are, we being pretty much, the globe, everybody contributing to the internet and Web3 today, when it comes to the overall transition, let's say, from more Web2 traditional sense to what we're seeing now emerge through what we call Web3 today? Do you think that we're still early? And if so, if you could put us on a progress bar, how much have we progressed in terms of adoption in this world of Web3?
Well, I would say the adoption from everyone working in Web3 is a different one than for everyone who just have heard of Bitcoin or anything like this. The transition will be, I think, not so much noticed from everyone who is not really involved in the space in the end. And that will be, I think, also the very successful projects out there, which build gateways to, let's say, Web 2 and can combine it and make it just usable as Web 2, but the underlying infrastructure is Web 3. And this is also where we are going. So we make use of it where it makes a lot of sense, but everyone as a consumer don't want all the hassles. There will be also possibilities to just get in and pay in the easiest way as possible. But still, using this technology is very, very efficient, very good, and this is why we're doing it. But we don't need to make it hard for everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you really touched on some key aspects there. Much so agree with what you said about whether or not people will really notice. And I think that it's people, such as yourself building Teneo, that are building this infrastructure that's enabling people to build, the future of the internet. And the more and more people are able to get in a seamless way, that there aren't very many roadblocks. I think just the higher the probability is that somebody engaging with the internet will eventually find themselves accidentally, let's say, using a protocol or using a website that relies on decentralized technology, open source, and contributing to more of a creator economy rather than, kind of lining the pockets and giving more data for people to, provide for themselves, for their own company, and so forth. So when it comes to the roadmap of Teneo, are there any things that are coming up in the near term or in the next period of time that you'd want to touch on as we come to a close here, Max?
So all what I can say, we have launched quite recently two big things. Stay tuned on what's coming next. There's a lot of things coming next for concerning around these two things, and much more to come. But what I already mentioned before, so pushing more and more open source, having more people coming in to contribute, and getting the word out that we are a powerful tool for everyone who is building in the AI space, or for everyone having a business, getting insights, need more insights for the business intelligence to improve on things. Yeah, we are here.
Great. So, with that being said, Max, I just want to thank you so much for being on the show. And one last throw it over to you. Where can the community get involved? Where are you guys most active? And if I was to just watch this video as a viewer, close my laptop or my browser, and I want to get involved, what does that look like? And yeah, where can everybody kind of find the information, download everything that it takes to get involved and start contributing to Teneo?
Well, the easiest way is to go on our homepage, just Teneo protocol.ai, and you have all the information. Get involved on X, on Discord. There's the most vibrant community. On X, you have always the latest news, and I think it's quite easy to follow with us. We post very often and try to be really engaged with all of our communities.
That's awesome. I think community could not be understated enough here in the world of Web3, but specifically with what you guys are building at Teneo. So, Max, thanks so much for being on the show today, sharing Teneo's story, some of your own story, as well as the vision behind it. I think what you guys are building really touches on something bigger, but a lot of people in Web3 kind of already acknowledge just the idea that data intelligence should be open and accessible to everybody. So, for anybody watching, be sure to check out the links in the description. We will include everything to get involved, to reach out to the team, to begin your journey with Teneo, contributing to the community. But that's all we've got time for today. It's been a great episode, and we'll see everybody in the next one.
Thank you, Stephen. See you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.